Hello, Internet. It is I, Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today, we're going to be talking about Karate Kid Legends. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros. So, Karate Kid. Never talked about it ever on this channel. So, it's the first time. So, that's pretty cool. Anywho, so Karate Kid, y'all probably know about the original. Came out in 1984. Story about Daniel LaRusso on the right, and he goes to new school. He moves to L.A. and he has like a love interest, but her ex boyfriend Johnny is being a real dick to Daniel. Him and his group of bullies that beat him up constantly. So in order to, defend himself, he seeks help from Mr. Miyagi on the left to learn about karate. And then everything culminates with a big, final fight between Daniel and Johnny at a big tournament. And you know how the story ends with that. So yeah, Karate Kid, big hit, is an 80s classic. People love this movie to death. And it spawned sequels that were not as good as the original. Karate Kid Part 2, I think that just got like mixed reviews, while Part 3 and the next Karate Kid were just seen as hella inferior and were just seen as bad movies. Although next Karate Kid, I won't lie, that's a guilty pleasure of mine because it's almost so bad it's good. But yeah. Yeah, let's say the series definitely fell off after the first movie. But then they got a remake in 2010 with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. And this movie did really well financially. Like opened with $55 million. I mean, look at these numbers. 176 million domestic, 351 million worldwide. These are great. Really good. So, and it was received decently. I think it was received decently enough. It was supposed to get a sequel, but then it just never materialized. And then Cobra Kai happened, which was originally a YouTube Red show, but then Netflix bought it, a little later. And then that show became like a big hit, and it just ended like earlier this year. And now here we are with Karate Kid Legends, where here we combine Jackie Chan's, master from the remake, and then Daniel LaRusso from the OG Karate Kid, and Cobra Kai. So, so it's like a mix of both worlds. So, yeah, so Karate Kid is a popular brand, thanks to the original movie and the remake and Cobra Kai. So yeah, the Karate Kid like definitely has like brand name recognition, so I will label that as a pro. Uh, another pro. Um, okay, reviews for this movie aren't that great, but they're not like horrible either. It's like at 57%, so that part's a bit of a con. But audience reaction is comparatively better, has an 88% audience score, and I think its cinema score was an A minus last I checked. Let me see. Yes, an A minus. So word of mouth from audiences is comparatively better than word of mouth from critics. So I guess the audience response, I'll label that as a pro. Okay, so let's see, that's a pro. What else? Mm, shoot, I'm struggling. I think that's really like the main two pros. Um, yeah, I can't think of any other pros. Maybe something else will pop up later. But let's get to the cons. Okay, so reviews are like 57%. Not fatal, but not really good. Doesn't really make you want to go rush to the theater or anything. So yeah, that's a con right there. Another con is, the fact that competition is rather intense with this movie, at least like general competition. I mean, Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible Dead, not Dead Reckoning, Final Reckoning. Those two movies in their debuts last week resulted in the biggest Memorial Day ever, with Lilo and Stitch having the biggest opening for Memorial Day. And so they're entering their second weekends. They're still like, and they're still projected to make a nice amount of cash, particularly Lilo and Stitch. I'm not sure if Karate Kid Legends can handle that, and just by the box office, seems like it can't. So yeah, just intense general competition right now, and not to mention, in June, like every weekend we have like a um big-ish movie coming out, because you have Ballerina, they have How to Train Your Dragon, they have 28 Years Later, and Elio, maybe. I don't know. Things aren't looking too great for that movie. They have F1, the movie after that. I don't know about Megan 2.0. I'm questioning that movie. The Then we go into July. You got freaking Jurassic World Rebirth and then Superman. Like, there's a lot going on. Like, summer is hella busy. Like, it won't catch its breath until like late August. So yeah, because of that, and just what's happening right now, I will label that. Sorry, I'll label that as a con. Another con is the fact that its preview numbers, God, its preview numbers are pretty weak, like lower than I thought they would be, like 2.3 million. I thought there would be at least like 3 or something like that, but 2.3, that's rather low. That's rather concerning. So, yeah, lackluster preview numbers for this in comparison to, like, say, some other movies. I will label that as a con, because I thought, you think Cobra Kai and the success it had would translate over here, but it does seem like that's happening. So I'll label that as a con. Um, I guess any other cons, any other serious cons? Can't really think of anything else. So, so opening weekend. Sorry. Stop this cough. It sucks. But yeah, this is projected to hit, let me see, 20 million, I think. Yeah, 20 million, which is a lot lower than I thought. Like, that's, not great. I thought it would open with at least like between 30 and 40 million. That's what I thought for a while. But it's hitting 20 million. Oof, that's a bit of a yikes. So, yeah. Um yes, I guess I'll just stick with 20 million. And then its total, it'll probably have like okay legs. Um yeah, okay-ish legs, maybe like 50 to 60 million, probably closer to 60 million, but that's a huge drop off in comparison to the remake from like 15 years ago. Like, I can't imagine that's what Sony was hoping for. So, this movie can safely be called a disappointment at the box office, but at least the movie wasn't expensive or anything. It only cost like between, like, I think 45 million. So, it won't be like a huge loss, but yeah, it's definitely disappointing. So, yeah, that's it for the weekend. I'm very glad it was short. I'm very glad not a whole lot was going on. Next week, though, is a different story, unfortunately. You got 5 movies coming out. Really, only 2 of them matter, but I know one of them is going to have like a serious pulse, and that movie is Ballerina, because, the John Wick spinoff. You also have the Phoenician Scheme, which is Wes Anderson's latest movie. I think that will gain a bit of an audience because it's Wes Anderson. The rest, the rest of these movies, I don't see going anywhere. So, yeah, next week is going to be not the most interesting. But then like look at the rest of June June here. The How to Train Your Dragon remake has the best shot of success out of all these movies. Because How to Train Your Dragon is a beloved series. The original movie's beloved. And since Lilo and Stitch made a shit ton of money, then realistically this should too. And you also have movies like Materialist, Life of Chuck. So we have like big movies, but also counter programming underneath, which is what the box office needs to be, to really thrive. You can't just have nothing but big movies. Then you have 28 Years Later, which I'm very much looking forward to, because that movie had a phenomenal first trailer, and it just sold me immediately. Then you have Elio, which, oof, I'm not feeling hyped for that. I feel like it might what happened to Elemental might happen here, where it has a really lackluster opening weekend, but maybe it'll save itself via legs. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. In the end of June, we have F1 the movie, which may or may not do do well. And then Megan 2.0, same thing. But I think Warner Brothers is doing has been doing really well recently, like super well, ever since like April started. So who's to say it will continue their streak? But even if it doesn't, they got Superman on the horizon, so they'll still be fine, no matter what happens to F1. But yeah, that's what June looks like. So yeah, so stay tuned for like the June 6th movies, next week. But yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Well, check out more videos like this, like a playlist on the homepage. All previous prediction videos I made this year, the past few years. You want to watch any of them? Go, go right ahead. It's also the the canceled series. I went over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. I've talked about Karate Kid Legends. I guess it was just called Karate Kid at the time. Several times actually. The first time was episode 155. I talked about it alongside Magic Mike 3 or Magic Mike's Last Dance, the Garfield movie, Kraven the Hunter, Madam Web, and 65. So that was the first time. The second time, if it can pop up, okay. Second time was episode 200, where I talked about it alongside Gran Turismo, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire, but I didn't have a title yet, so I called it Ghostbusters Afterlife 2. They Listen, a movie that I'm convinced will never come out, and then Bad Boys 4, Bad Boys Ride or Die. So that was the second time I talked about it. And the third time was episode 244, where I talked about it alongside Kraven the Hunter, The Watchers, Gabby's Dollhouse, and They Listen, which I'm convinced just won't exist. So, oh wait, no, it was, what was it? Shit, it did come out. The name is failing me. Afraid. I think that's what it was called. I think that's what it was end up being called. I think. Let me check. Afraid. Yeah, that's what it was called. Okay, good. So that did actually come out, and no one watched it. But glad I got that right. Glad I figured that out. But yeah, you want to watch those cancel episodes or any other cancel episodes I made on the channel, all 250 of them. You want to binge watch that whole series, you can go right ahead. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for a particular month. May recap, that recap video will be like 2 weeks from now, roughly. So in May, Got quite a bit to say about May because May, it started out a little but the Memorial Day popped off big time. And it made me go, okay, summer is going to be way better than it was last year. I can tell already. So, yeah, so, yeah, so expect that video in 2 weeks. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I made on the channel, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.